So I want to go through the opportunities in Africa. There's a lot happening in the mobile money landscape. We talked about buying physical goods through carrier payments. There's buying physical goods through apps. But in Africa, the mobile money is pretty well developed. Using mobile money to buy goods and services is commonplace, and it's been in place for many years. So not only does that represent a good opportunity in its own right, it gives us an indication of what might happen in other markets. And it's growing fast. So I want to go through just a few facts and figures and some research about Africa. And we're limited in time today. I'm not going to hit you with too much in the way of figures. We have got a white paper which goes in some depth about the opportunities in Africa and the individual countries. And if you come to our stand, we'll happily give you that. But in terms of Auctionate, for those who are not aware of what we do, if I just run through a few items about what it is. We've got a multi-channel platform which has a sophisticated work management flow behind it. It's used by a lot of brands internationally, and significantly it's used globally by the two biggest mobile networks in the world, Telefonica Group and Singtel. And on that platform we support payment solutions, voice solutions and media solutions. So in terms of the payment platform, we support carrier and non-carrier billing, and through the e-money license we support the sale of physical goods, but also financial remittances. The platform has inbuilt into it KYC and AML, know your customer and anti-money laundering, and it's got an integrated wallet into it. Now I think everybody here operates in a fast-moving market. For us, that means we have to invest a lot of money in our R&D, in our services, in ensuring that we have the correct licenses in place and the correct regulatory setup. But in Africa, that pace of change is supercharged, and that gives us some challenges as well as some real opportunities. In terms of who we work with, we're very strong in the retail space, very strong in the network space, also in logistics, with international ad agencies and major financial institutions. So in terms of Africa, I'm just going to run through Africa in general and look at some key markets in terms of the opportunities. So what's the attraction of Africa? Firstly, it's a huge market, 650 million subscribers, so it's a bigger market than Europe, it's a bigger market than America. And it's growing at an incredibly fast rate. And there's a huge part of the population that have no access to financial institutions, so there's a great opportunity with the unbanked. 36 countries in Africa have mobile money. The carriers are integrally involved in the financial landscape there, and they offer huge coverage. Safaricom, which is the main network in Kenya, for instance, has 80,000 outlets throughout that country. If we look at it on a global scale, this shows the percentage of population that have no access to formal or informal channels. And as you'll see there, Africa leads the way in terms of the unbanked population, and therefore the opportunity. Kenya is the most developed market in Africa. M-Pesa was launched there 7 years ago, and the figures there are huge. There's 19 million registered subscribers in Kenya that this year will generate $30 billion of transactions. The chart there shows the slice that Safaricom, which is the main network in Kenya, takes. So this year, Safaricom will take $300 million out of that 30 billion. And mobile money is used for pretty much everything. In Africa, it really didn't have the internet age because it skipped that. It's mobile that drives internet access, and it's mobile money that's driving e-commerce in Africa. And it's used, to say, for all sorts of areas. Gaming is particularly big in Africa, and it's one where we have a lot of customers in that space. And typical uses for mobile money is we pay, like many companies in Africa, we pay our staff salaries direct to their mobile wallet account. In terms of the premium billing side, premium SMS, direct operated billing, and premium voice, that's pretty much offered in most markets, and we offer all of those. The interesting thing, perhaps on that slide to note, is that the penetration of mobiles in most African markets is pretty low by comparison to other parts of the world, with the sole exception there of South Africa. So if I just run over what individual markets look like. In Kenya, it's been 39,000% growth since M-Pesa was launched 7 years ago. And in January of this year, monthly transactions in Kenya reached $2 billion. And this year, it's expected, as I mentioned earlier, that the outturn for the year will be about $30 billion in terms of transactional revenue. In Tanzania, it's not as well developed as Kenya in terms of mobile penetration or mobile money. Even so, the penetration has lots of room for growth, particularly as you can see from that stat there in rural areas. And Tanzania has had a lot more roadblocks in terms of the development of mobile money than some other markets. Bureaucracy, regulation, and technical constraints. But as that graph shows, we've only got the figures for the half year in 2003, but the expectation for 2003 is that it will be nearly double 2002. So it's a market last year of about 15 to 20 billion US. Uganda, two main networks there, Airtel and MTN. 2 years ago, the percentage of users that are registered for mobile money was only 36%. 2 years on, it's going to be much, much bigger than that. Even so, 2 years ago, the mobile money market in Uganda was worth 1.6 billion. If we look at Nigeria, Africa's biggest economy, 173 million population. Mobile money there is booming. They have a very young population, 70% of the population is under 30. They're very mobile savvy. And in terms of mobile money, that's defined as a monetary transaction that's executed over the mobile network. That was introduced in Nigeria only 3 years ago, and last year that market was worth more than 40 billion. South Africa, which is again the most developed market, has a very sophisticated banking infrastructure. Even so, 21% of South Africans don't have a bank account, but pretty much all of them have a mobile phone. So even in the South African market, there's lots of scope for growth. M-Pesa was only launched there 3 years ago, and already we can see that the usage of mobile for buying things is expanding. This graph shows what South Africans used to buy on mobile. Still, most of it's digital goods, but as you can see, it's expanding now into other areas, and that's going to only continue. So all this is good news. So what's new? The carrier billing space in most markets, this is the premium side, is growing. Like most markets, they had huge growth, and then a lot of regulation came in. That included things like double opt-in, also pre-approvals on services, and the market declined or was stagnant. And that's sort of changed in the last 12 months. The regulations have relaxed in terms of the compliance requirements, and the approval processes have been shortened. We're getting services through much more quickly, and as such, all our markets are seeing growth, and pretty much all our customers are. I've mentioned about the huge growth in m-commerce using mobile payments. The other thing that we're seeing is that the regulators and government now are very supportive of that, and the environment is getting better and better, and it's much more easy to launch services into the marketplace. And we're seeing increased competition. So the networks have gone into the financial landscape, and they've changed it forever. I mean, they act and are running as banks. So the banks, recognising this danger and opportunity, are starting to encroach into the carrier space, setting up their own MNOs or MVNOs. And the consequence of that has been to see a big reduction in the charges that are passed on to the consumer. And that's only going to fuel more growth. This is Africa. This is the phrase that I get told most of the time. Africa is a very frustrating environment to operate in. There's lots of institutional, regulatory and political factors and roadblocks that you encounter, and there's always some bizarre decisions made. And when that happens, people just go, well, this is Africa. So it's a given that if you go into these markets, you have a strong local partner in terms of the pitch for myself. We've been in Africa now 10 years. We're very well established there. We pretty much have every type of license that our customer base, our technology customer base, requires to operate there. And we're very well connected. We also have a raft of media, retail, government agency customers, which we've been able to utilise to facilitate our customers' entry into these marketplaces. And we also have a local call centre to support our customer base. So basically, Africa is very much open for business, as we are. Thank you.